International Students' Day is an international observance of the student community held annually on 17th November. The date commemorates the anniversary of the 1939 Nazi storming of the University of Prague after demonstrations against the German occupation of Czechoslovakia and the killings of Jan Opleta and worker Václav Sedlacek. Now, joining me to speak about the significance of this day to students around the world is CEO SabiTech, Wale Ogunjobi. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So this year's celebration of the World International Students' Day, let's focus on Nigeria, is coming just at a time where ASUU is warning that it may go on strike if the federal government refuses to meet its 2020 December 2020 agreement. What does that say to you about the plight of students, whether at the university or that's tertiary, secondary and primary levels in the country?
Yeah, so I mean, it's so sad that we're still at the level of talking about the ASUU going on strike and then the students staying at home for a while. You know, like the theme of this year's International Student Day celebration that talking about the safe spaces. You know, it is very important that we consider the psychology and the emotional effect that all of these actions have on students. For instance, if the school goes on strike and then students stay at home for some time, it has a psychological effect, you know, on their learning processes. And some of these things are things that we need to look at in terms of making sure that students have the right mental well-being for them to be able to do well. This also boils down to secondary and also primary level of education. Teachers need to begin to factor in, you know, looking at how students are able to learn, looking at their emotional balance and all of that, because it has a huge role to play in terms of learning outcomes for students.
And that's the point, you know, the outcome for the students. We churn out students every year at every level, and we see how JAMB and even, you know, those in charge of the SSC and other exams continue to lower the standard. It does show you that things are not the way they used to be. We're reducing the standard, and we also have more students who are now out of school. It is not just in the northern part of the country, it is in every part of the country. The numbers seem to be increasing, and I like the fact that you referenced the theme for this year, which really focuses on education as a right. How do we get to that point where education actually is a right for all, that irrespective of your status in the society, you can be educated?
I mean, that's a good.
All right, we seem to be having network challenges there. All right, we have Wale now. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I was saying that it has to start from the grassroots. You know, talking about safe spaces for kids to learn. The thing is, we need to ask ourselves this question: are students enjoying the school environment? We need to answer that big question. If I'm enjoying a thing, then you don't need to cajole me, or you don't need to force me to attend schools. We need to ask ourselves, the schools that we have in Nigeria, are they attractive enough for students to be able to go to the school environment and then learn? We need to look at some of the activities that we do in school that repel students from voluntarily or being interested to be in a school. We have some schools that even students do not have chairs to sit down. I mean, it looks like you suffering yourself going to school. I believe that if we're able to work on some of these things that is making school environment enticing to students, we're going to have more students interested in going to school. And then we also need to deal with this cultural belief that is ongoing, that, you know, you don't need school to
absolutely,
be a great
Wale.
person.
You raised a very key point. You raised a very key point about the fact that we have to make education exciting for students. It's not just about coming to learn, but learning in a fun and exciting environment. Thank you so much for your thoughts on this. CEO SabiTech, Wale Ogunjobi, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.